In the pentagram rite, I felt a smoothness, an extraordinary smoothness, and faint colors in places that physically there were not those colors. During the vibrations, I saw patterns develop, and these patterns were triangular, and they formed things that weren't always triangular. And then I saw a great yellow octahedron. Most of the shapes were combining like they were a fabric that wasn't flat or the same structure. I began to see greens, and then I felt a euphoria gently pour down me. Not that strong, but still very effective in its analgesia. And then I saw something that reminded of a yin-yang, in the fact that one side was pretty much one color with inclusions of the other, but it wasn't, that 6 and 9 looking thing. A yellow light grew, and it sort of poured in from the north. But the strongest shining was from the northeast. I felt a presence in the west and a thicker presence in the east. Now, during the final reading, there was some difficulty maintaining the trance because some animal showed up. And this animal, I gained some hypersensitivity. And this hypersensitivity was such that sound and touch was stronger, and now it wants to cooperate. And in the final scrying, even though I look forward towards the mirror, I saw off towards the north. And in the north, up at the sky beyond the tree that fell through the building on a Friday morning, there was something yellow in the sky. It seemed kind of odd. And I saw patterns kind of like those that you would see in a tree before me. But they were more green. And I know that wood pattern, when they say green wood, they don't really mean that the wood is green, but this is how that was. people will take my criticism of this book and miss the point that merely I'm pointing out some issues. Certainly, while I can say some of the stuff about sensitivity, and there's some stuff that I wouldn't say and stuff that I would say on this subject, certainly this person is an expert, and this person has conveyed stuff that I do agree with the hairdresser in that there's something about, well, he doesn't say it, but there's something about reputation. And therefore, if you're going to have a fake blonde or a fake redhead, or, well, he particularly had things about redhead, is that, there's certain personality traits and stuff like that that you would per se want to be associated with your work. Whether it's known that, this person gets their hair done here, and it sounded like he knew what he was talking about what would look better. Now, the author, like most women actually, and probably most men, just not as obvious, everybody seems to have something they want to be more of and something they want to be less of. And in this case, she was trying to how can I want redder hair. And so she got advice from such an individual. We have reference in this book to the Jewish thing where you pick somebody who's not like your mother. Reference to drugs. Well, it ends up on the fact that she got some genetic testing done. And it includes bits about how certain things brought up aren't as scientifically established as they could be. And being that this book is somewhere between 2005 and 1995 when it was written, I would point out that there is stuff that, maybe it was just not known at the time. Because that was the idea, is like, in the future, it's like, well. And of course, like redheads or any other feature or individual that people like or hate, there is definitely the thought of, well, this is the version that I like or hate, right? So obviously, there are things that are powers of plus or minus compared to something else, and these are things that we can use towards our own ends.